Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ryan of DarwentDesign here, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking about how you can prepare for a graphic design job interview. This is pretty broad, so just like any position, internship, full-time, whatever. I recently interviewed for a full-time position, and in doing so, I obviously prepared through just research and all that kind of stuff. So, on top of that, now I have some experience of my own, so I figured I'd put out a video on that topic since I'm a little bit more knowledgeable about it now as far as what to expect. So, um, now before like an interview, obviously that's going to be coming post application. So some basic things you're going to need to touch up before applying is you're going to need a resume and you're going to need a portfolio. So now for a resume, just keep it clean and basic. You're not really trying to show off your design skills here. That's kind of what the portfolio is for. So this is going to be a clean sheet and just kind of have like your notable positions on there, like freelance, internships, whatever, and then provide like a little summary as to what you did while you were working with them. And then I also have on mine like a small about me kind of section with like my age and where I'm based. And then I also have a contact section with my email, phone number, and then you can put your socials on there if you want to. And then as far as a portfolio, there's tons of websites you can use to make them with. I personally use Adobe Portfolio. I think it's a good one. But I mean, just really gallery, any site builder with like a gallery on it should work. Nothing crazy. And then a good like bonus I would say is buy your own domain. So for my portfolio, I have RyanDarwent.com. Really cheap, but it's another good way to make it look a little more professional. So and it costs like I think it's like $12 a year or something. So it's really cheap. But it's a good thing to have to up the professionalism a little bit. So now after applying to a position and landing an interview, you need to spend some time preparing for it. So yeah, so for my recent interview, everything was virtual. So things are going to be kind of directed more towards that. I have done a full or a in-person interview rather. That was for my internship. It wasn't really too in depth because it was non-paid, so not too much for them to lose. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. Firstly, don't be late, man. Like that's number one. I mean, when you're interviewing for a job, you're up against everyone else that's interviewing for it as well. And so making a great first impression is like wildly important. Can't really like express that enough. So maybe try to be like 5 to 10 minutes early to the Zoom call or whatever like method you're using to interview. And if it is in person, then like 5 to 10 minutes just to the location. So another tip I would recommend is to do some research on the company prior to the interview. Like know what company you would be working for, what they're about, and don't just go over what they do, but like review their social media accounts too, and focus on the content. See what kind of content they put out, because assuming that like you would be a creative, you'd be joining their team and helping to handle that workload, so you kind of get a better understanding as to the kind of stuff you would be making. And questions to look for in this aspect would be like they could ask like, what are your thoughts on our social strategy, and like what would you possibly do different if you're a part of the team. So always be ready for any sort of questions, because they'll come, so you don't want to be caught off guard. And another thing is to be familiar with your resume and portfolio. The interviewers will 100% ask questions about them, certain projects and stuff like that. So doing research over the company could give you a better idea as to what questions that they might ask. But regardless, you just don't want to get caught off guard with any sort of questions. So just kind of go over it, make sure you're confident, you know exactly what you're talking about. And have confidence in your art too. Like you're in the interview process because they were impressed by your portfolio and your resume. So keep that in mind. It's also important to remain like just natural. A well-flowing conversation will keep the interview easier for both sides. It'll just be more enjoyable, and you could also not be as nervous by preparing. So you're not going to be blindsided by anything. Will obviously help ease the nerves a little bit. Another question to be worried about, or just to be prepared for rather, is the basic "tell me about yourself" question. That's usually how they open them up. So just some basic background information, how you got into design, stuff like that. Just very basic stuff, kind of like what you're doing right now. Then another thing with these design positions, which I hate, is the desired salary question, because it puts me in a pickle. You don't want to sell yourself short, and you don't want to talk too high to where they're turned off. So you have to find like a good median. I think a good way to do that is to research other positions that are similar in other companies and stuff like that, and get a like a ballpark number as far as what people are offering, and so you kind of get a better idea of what someone in that position makes, and then start a little bit higher, and then you can work your way down if need be, because it's a lot harder to try and work your way up than working your way down to a number that both sides are happy with. So also make sure to read over the application thoroughly and like understand what you're applying for. It's important that you know like what you're getting yourself into, and so you have to make sure you have questions prepared to ask. Like, this is really important. So you obviously can find this out yourself by just doing research on the company, but some good generic ones is like how large is the creative team that you'll be working with? What is communication like? What does an average day look like? Like, what are the hours like? And then the final one is usually like, when will I hear back? And know like if we're gonna proceed with the process or I'm just kind of cut off. But those are some good basic questions, but you're gonna pick up on some other ones throughout the interview, so definitely ask those. You don't want to leave any questions or concerns unanswered, because you want to be like 100% certain that the position fits you, because it's not just one-sided in the sense that they're seeing if you fit, you also are trying to see if you fit the position they're seeking. So asking questions is what actually told me that I didn't want the position I was interviewing last time for. But they did like the work and everything, so they offered me another paid internship position. So there may be some, if things don't work out for this certain position, they may have other spots available. So just always be asking questions. But yeah, ultimately, I found out like just in my current position, just freelancing and in school, a full-time job does not make sense. So I kind of found out the hard way, but regardless, it was good to get experience and understand that some people will take a flyer on a 19-year-old kid without a bachelor's degree, because a bachelor's degree or just any sort of experience like that is usually a requirement. So it was good to see some people were taking flyers on people like me. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. So any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I got y'all. Just trying to keep it pretty broad, but definitely do your own research. Be confident in your work, and yeah, man, good luck to you guys. Congratulations, even if you got an interview, because that's step 2. So it's definitely difficult. Once you get there, something to be happy about. So yeah, man, don't sell yourself short. Go in confident, and just be prepared. Try and get every angle possible, so you're not caught lacking. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, man. My socials in the description as always. Any comments, concerns, feel free to leave them below, and I'm gonna catch you guys next one. Appreciate it. Later.